Imagine stepping into a bank you own, expecting routine service, only to face outright prejudice. What would you do? The story follows Amelia James, a woman whose quiet dignity and sharp mind turned an uncomfortable moment into a lesson for everyone watching. What began as a routine transaction became a turning point for an entire institution. Let's uncover what happened. Amelia James, an accomplished and elegant black woman in her early 40s, walked confidently into the flagship branch of Union Bank. She carried herself with an air of quiet authority that naturally drew attention. Her tailored navy blue suit, subtle gold jewelry, and flawless posture reflected her sophistication and success. Yet, she wasn't there to flaunt her status. Amelia had recently acquired Union Bank as part of her growing financial empire, but chose to keep her identity as the new owner under wraps. She wanted to see the daily operations firsthand, to observe her staff, understand the customer experience, and evaluate whether her vision of excellence was being upheld. The bank's lobby was a blend of modern elegance and underlying chaos. Gleaming glass walls and polished marble floors gave the space a professional feel, but long lines of customers and faint murmurs of discontent hinted at inefficiencies. Amelia's sharp eyes took in every detail: the impatient shuffling of feet, the rhythmic tapping of keyboards, and the barely concealed tension among employees. Her gaze settled on Kenneth Blake, a middle-aged teller with graying hair and a perpetually downcast expression. He worked methodically, but there was no warmth in his demeanor. Amelia had heard whispers about Kenneth during her initial meetings with the bank's leadership: his reputation for being overly meticulous, and more troubling, for treating certain customers unfairly. Today, she decided to see for herself. With her usual grace, Amelia approached Kenneth's window, placing a neatly written check on the counter. "Good afternoon," she said, her voice calm and polite. Kenneth glanced up briefly, his eyes narrowing slightly as he took in her appearance. Without offering the customary pleasantries, he asked in a flat tone, "How can I help you?" "I'd like to withdraw funds from my account," Amelia replied, sliding the check closer to him. Kenneth picked it up, his lips tightening into a thin line as he examined the amount. Without confirming her account details or asking any follow-up questions, he placed the check back on the counter and pushed it toward her. "I'm sorry, but I can't process this. Our policies are very clear," he said, his tone dismissive. Amelia's expression remained neutral, though a flicker of amusement threatened to show. She knew this routine all too well, rules being selectively enforced to gatekeep certain people. "What policy would that be?" she asked, tilting her head slightly. Kenneth's discomfort became more apparent as he avoided her gaze. Clearing his throat, he repeated, "If you have an issue, you can speak with the branch manager." Around them, customers began to notice the tension. An elderly man near the front of the line frowned and whispered to the person next to him, "That's odd. He just processed a similar check for someone else without a problem." Amelia remained composed, but her eyes sharpened as she studied Kenneth's stiff posture and defensive tone. "Could you explain why you're refusing to process my request?" she asked again, her voice firm but calm. Kenneth barely glanced at her as he muttered, "You don't have sufficient funds for this transaction." The murmur in the lobby grew louder. Customers whispered to one another, their eyes darting between Amelia and Kenneth. The elderly man spoke again, this time louder. "I just saw him approve a check like that for someone else. No questions asked." Kenneth's face flushed as his irritation began to show. "This is none of your business," he snapped at the man. Turning back to Amelia, he said, "If you're unhappy, feel free to speak with the manager." Amelia, still poised and calm, decided it was time to escalate. She glanced at Kenneth's name tag, committing it to memory, before turning toward the manager's office. Her heels clicked softly against the floor as she walked away, leaving Kenneth visibly rattled. Moments later, a well-dressed man emerged from the back office, his expression nervous. "Miss James, we weren't expecting you today," the manager said, his voice trembling slightly. Kenneth froze in confusion as whispers rippled through the lobby. Amelia looked at the manager and said evenly, This employee just refused to serve me and cited non-existent policies. Would you care to explain? The manager stammered, struggling to respond. Kenneth, now pale, muttered, I didn't know that. Please accept my apology. Amelia ignored his excuses. Turning to the gathered customers, she spoke with quiet authority. As the new owner of this bank, I assure you that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated. Everyone here deserves respect and fairness. The room fell silent. The weight of her words and her identity hung in the air. The following day, Amelia held a meeting with all the branch employees. Standing at the head of the room, she introduced herself formally and made her stance clear. Discriminatory practices had no place in Union Bank. Kenneth was temporarily suspended and required to complete mandatory training on bias and customer service. But Amelia didn't stop there. She launched a company-wide initiative for diversity and inclusion training across all branches, ensuring systemic change. The incident quickly gained attention on social media, with many praising Amelia for her grace and decisive action. Her efforts sent a powerful message not just to her employees, but to anyone watching. Accountability and fairness must be at the core of any institution. For Amelia, this wasn't just about addressing one person's prejudice. It was a step toward dismantling systemic inequities in corporate spaces. Her calm but firm approach left a lasting impact, proving that real change is possible when leadership takes a stand. Thank you for watching this inspiring story. If you enjoyed it and want more thought-provoking tales, hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to Unfolded Tales Explained. Don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss a story. Stay tuned for more incredible narratives that challenge, inspire, and engage.